In the top right hand corner of our ByuN, we have our Chinese Protoss. It is Firefly. In the bottom left, we have ByuN for Shopify. Whew. Let's go. Again, a very nice run here from Firefly. Just to reiterate, Firefly took down Trap, he took down Coffee, and he took down Hero Marine to make it to the top 8, to the quarterfinals. And the winner of this series advances on to the semis. Here we go. Here we go. Not really worth of a game if you want to do that Marine run by. You do an early stim research. Kind of. I mean, that run by, really, what it was designed to do was hopefully get damage done if Firefly committed, or even just force Firefly to recall, right? Like, if that run by hadn't occurred, then Gabe probably just dies anyway. Like, if those Marines were back at home, then they would not have really served anywhere near as well, just because Firefly was already in his main. If you remember, he was breaking through, getting worker damage, and it did force the recall at least. That was the purpose. It was all cleaned up, and I mean, again, it was just a rough game. It was just a rough game there for Gabe. It was damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of scenario, just because things were snowballing out of control and escalating very quickly. Solid game from Firefly. Solid game. Behind this, we see ByuN going double gas. Going to be a double gas opener out of ByuN, which means delayed command center. Factory is on the way. With this faster factory, we can go into like a Widowmine drop. I say that Widowmine drops are very out of fashion. This could lead into a 1-1-1 kind of like Banshee opener. It could lead into Reactored Reaper Hellion aggression. Could lead into faster Cyclones. There's a couple of different builds here. A couple of different openers available to ByuN. If this was a smaller map, I would even say this could lead into a 1-base all-in, but on a map like ByuN, this should lead into a CC. There it is, command center is on the way. And we're going for a Widowmine first. Interesting. I just mentioned that Widowmine openers and Widowmine drop play has been very unpopular. It just hasn't been trendy ever since the new patch, ever since the nerf to the Widowmines. We've barely seen any drop play or like Widowmine openers at all in TvP. I've seen like maybe 2 in the last 3 weeks. Like 2 games where we've gone for a mine drop. And we're making another Widowmine. Okay, let's go. Fun fact, last person I saw do this was ByuN actually, so yeah, it does track. Second Widowmine's on the way. Behind this, Firefly opening up Robo. Interesting. It's going to be a Robo-based opener here out of Firefly. I'm torn how I want to call this. I want to say this is a very defensive opener, and traditionally, Robo-based play is very defensive. What this does is it gives you really fast access to Colossus, fast access to detection. You can harass early on with a War Prism as well. We can see that the Observer is being prioritized. It's a very safe opener here by Firefly. The reason why I call this safe is because with no Stargate and no Twilight Council, you don't have Blink, you don't have Phoenixes, you don't have any map control. No map control, you don't have a way to shut down drop play reliably either. And yeah, you can see here it's 1 Observer into a second, into a 3rd base. So a very defensive style here from Firefly. We'll see if he can get away with this kind of build. This traditionally also leads into a fast Bay into fast Colossus production. The mine drop is coming in. Remember, the Widowmines were scattered earlier, so Firefly is aware. He just doesn't know what base they're going to. Is the drop headed towards the main or the natural? We can see the natural. Widowmine's going to be burrowing. We do react in time. Ooh. Firefly did flinch. Did pull back his workers. Stalker's in position, going for the medevac. No! The medevac goes down. Big pickoff. Ooh, that is a rough start here by ByuN as his opener falls on its face. We don't get any damage done. For like a second, we forced the boys to be pulled, like for like a second as they pulled away, but 0 pro damage. We did scout the tech. We saw the Robo at least. And the Reaper saw the 3rd base, but not the best start. At the same time, because we opened up double Observer, Firefly spots the main army. He does see it coming. And he's getting in position. He has control of the Zonaga. Reaper slipping in towards that natural. Good scan. Keen eyes out of ByuN. He did spot the Observer, and he's going into Banshee. Cloak Banshees. Okay. We spoke about this in the last series with Oliveira, how Cloak Banshees have been very trendy in TvP. They've been very trendy, and we saw that the Cloak Banshee didn't do much for Oliveira against Creator. We'll see if ByuN is more successful with them here against Firefly. As ByuN, he actually banks up 2 Banshees first before moving out. This marks a difference between his way of executing this compared to Oliveira, where Oliveira, he sent his first Banshee out first, or sent it out as fast as possible to get damage as quickly as possible. We can see here that ByuN does take a more slower, methodical approach here. Dips in, spots the army, dips away. Preserves those Banshees. Has control of the center of the map. And you can see a Firefly trying to get in position. Charge is on the way. That's going to be the first big upgrade here from Firefly. Bearing in mind as well, he did not go into Obey, so no Colossus. So Robo Opener into Charge Lots, into Archons. Okay. Bold move by Firefly. This early Immortal production does mean that he's safe against any kind of earlier push. We can see that ByuN is expanding. Third CC is on the way. ByuN is not going all in, and he catches another Observer. Once again, keen eyes out of ByuN. It's going to be the second Observer he did catch. I believe the Observer did spot the Banshees, so Firefly getting ready. Templar Archives is now done. We gain access to Storm, to Archon production. Blink is on the way behind this. Archons are being produced as we speak. More Immortals as well. And ByuN backs off. Backs off, just relying on Banshee Harass instead. Is going to get a probe, but not much more. Once again, though, thankfully ByuN escapes with the Banshees. They live to fight another day. So this Banshee opener has been lackluster for ByuN, but still has potential. It's still alive, can still get some damage done. As Firefly is moving out. Now, I don't expect Firefly to try to break... Do we try to break the third? That's 3 tanks. No side defense. But the tanks, they're on the high ground. We have a Bio army to support. We do catch one of the Banshees. And Firefly moving towards the left-hand side. He will actually get on some of the same elevation here as the tanks. No high ground advantage. Going for a big warping as well. That's a lot of charge lots. And we're diving in the army. We're diving on the tanks. First tank goes down. There's 2 left. There's 2 left, 1 left, 0 left. We collapse on the Marines. A big move here from Firefly, outflanking ByuN. Again, ByuN, he was expecting the army from the right. It came in from the left. No SimCity, no protection for those tanks. And Firefly, he's done it. He breaks the third base. He can keep on pushing. There is nothing left for ByuN. He's got some Marines, some Marauder, but no more tanks, no more backbone to his army. And Firefly, he is pushing through. He's breaking the natural. SCVs are going down one after the other. Boys are being pulled into Archons. Not like this. One Archon goes down, the other going ham. Reinforcements come in. That's a good amount of Marines left over, but here come the charge lots. And Firefly should still have enough. Good target firing here by ByuN. Good kiting as well. ByuN trading as best he can, but it's still not enough. GG gets called, and Firefly takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Again, very nice movement out of Firefly. As we were saying, I don't think Firefly could have made that same result happen if Firefly pushed towards a third. If he tried to go right through the center up the ramp, I feel like that would have spelled the end of his army. But he did sneak around the left-hand side instead, with his Warp Prism able to reinforce. And what's more important here, outside of outflanking ByuN, is the fact that ByuN missed the rotation. He missed the rotation, he missed the main army, didn't know where it was, and that's why he was caught with his pants down. The tanks, they were left exposed, they got shot down almost immediately. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Bobby, Firefly, he's on fire. He's flying, he's crazy. Firefly, not just taking down Big Gay, but also taking a map off of ByuN, and can he take the series? That's what I'm here for. Can he go the distance? Again, we've seen Firefly take maps off of Clem. We've seen him take maps off of the best players in the world. It's not about maps, though. It's about series. Can he win a series here? That's what we are here. That's what I'm waiting for. As in the bottom left, we have Firefly for Offside Esports. And in the top right, we have ByuN for Shopify. Here we go. Shout out to Saber. Saber just letting the people know the score. Saber is one of our Chinese casters, by the way. For those that are unaware. I believe he casts over on Bilibili. We are settling in. Whew. And here we go. We'll see how things do change on Crimson Court. Honestly, we don't really cast too much on Crimson Court. It's one of the more vetoed maps in the map pool. It's really interesting just because of its layout. You can gain access to a really safe third base if you expand linearly, just because it's protected by walls of rocks and walls of minerals. So that is a factor here when it comes to expanding and where you want to take this. At the same time, you could try to take the forward third base instead, which has a rich Vespene gas geyser that does lend towards all-ins, as it boosts your economy quite quickly, quite heavily, as you get into the mid-game. It's quite often taken by Zerg players to go for like a Roach all-in, for example. So we'll see how our players open up, as ByuN is once again going double gas. Double gas opener out of ByuN going for a faster factory. We saw that last game this led into faster Widow Mine production into a mine drop. And if you remember last game, the mine drop fell on its face. The mine drop didn't do much. If you remember, I also spoke about the Banshee harass and how there was potential for damage, and everything has potential. The reality is that it led to nothing. The Cloak Banshees, they killed, I want to say like 2 probes. I want to say around 2 workers, that was it, and it was a big investment. It was 2 Banshees, it was Cloak as well, it was production time on the starport that also did no damage. So it wasn't just the final fight that went in favor of Firefly, but also the lead up to it. The build in general for ByuN was struggling on multiple fronts when it came to the mine drop and the Banshee harass. So there were layers, Pappy, there were layers to said game. Remember when Firefly was a nobody? He almost quit SC2. Now look at him go. Now, he was never a nobody. What do you mean? But I do remember. For those who are unfamiliar, Firefly was on the Starving Camels, and the Starving Camels was a WTL team. Was a Chinese team that was made by retired players. Like, for the most part, like a lot of the players that were there had already retired. And they were dragged out of retirement, you know, 1 day off from retirement, Papi. They had already hung up their keyboards, they'd hung up their mouse pads, but they were dragged back in for WTL that one season, and the Starving Camels, they popped off. If you were here for it in 2023, 2022, 2022 even, the Starving Camels, they made a name for themselves, and it was both Cyan and Firefly that took that motivation to keep on going. But before I talk about that, we are diving into the natural base. We did go for the reactor on that Rax. Reapers and Hellions diving into the main base. A Stalker, there's only one Stalker to defend. We're getting probe kills, and this is getting out of hand. This is getting out of control. Firefly caught with his pants down. I was reminiscing about the past, but we get into the mineral line. 8 probes go down. We force the overcharge. The one Stalker can barely keep up. Ay, ay, ay. We warp in a sentry, but this is becoming too much. This is becoming game-ending damage here. 10 probes go down. Firefly, he was going for a proxy pylon across the map. He was going for Blink. And alas, did not have any wall of any SimCity here at the natural. Barely had any units. The one Stalker. 13 probes go down. Oof. This is a rough start here for Firefly. Again, he was... for those that are curious what was happening, he was trying to set up this. Like, he was trying to set up this proxy gateway, which was delayed because of the aggression. He only had 1 gateway powered back at home at the time, and... Firefly caught out, and now he's pretty committed. Yeah, he throws down 2 more gates. I think that's 3 gates in total. All ByuN has to do is survive. All ByuN has to do is survive this counterattack. He has a tank, he has bunkers on the way. 2nd tank in production. No, sorry, 3rd tank in production. Oh my god. It's all or nothing for Firefly. Just a really rough start. Diving on top of the tank. Where's the repair? The boys are being pulled, maybe a little bit too late. The tank does go down. We have Marines, so good target firing here by ByuN. He does focus on 1 Stalker. Doesn't get the 2nd. That was a good pickup by Firefly. 1 Stalker for a tank. Can he keep going? Dives into the main. Remember, there's no stim. The boys are being pulled. No bunker on the high ground. We go for the tank. Oh, we've lead out a lot of Stalkers. That's going to be 2 Stalkers going down. a rougher trade. It doesn't sound like a lot. It's like, oh, can't we afford to lose 2 Stalkers? Well, I mean, because we lost so many probes, like, we don't really have a good economy here. We don't have a bank. So every Stalker counts that much more in this all-in. Boys being pulled. SCVs are going down. That one tank forcing back the army. Good blink so far. We coming from behind. Stim is almost done. And Firefly, can he keep going? We get 10 SCVs. Can we get the tank? Oh, the tank is going to go down, but we don't get Stim. We did get a volley off. It's going to be 12 dead workers. Even more. And we force field the... Let's go. We force field the ramp. ByuN, he's stuck in the main base. The low ground in shambles. The bunker goes down. SCVs as well. And we can force a lift on the CC. Firefly, he's bouncing back. Mate, Firefly had a rough start. He had a rough start to this game. But Stim is done. He blinks forward and... Oh, a bit of miscontrol there. Oh my god, we bleed out too much. No, Firefly. That blink was brutal. He blinked, but he had no high ground vision. He couldn't kill the tank. He couldn't attack. Oh, and that mistake, that misstep, that aggressive blink may have just cost him the game. Ay, ay, ay. That was a brutal moment. Again, for those wondering what just happened, he blinked forward, but because he couldn't see the tank, the Stalkers did nothing. The Stalkers, they were like stuck move commanding, trying to get on top of the tank, and they couldn't. Because there was no high ground vision. And that was like 3 or 4 Stalkers killed in that moment, and ByuN, he's recovered. He's holding. He's stabilizing. And Firefly is transitioning. Whew, okay. Okay, the dust is settling here. We're calming things down. Oh, I say that. That's a lot of tank shots. Oh god. 2 Stalkers go down. Oh, no! 2 Stalkers get out for free. We throw the rest away. GG gets called, and ByuN ties up the series 1-1. Whew. GG. That was a wild game. That was a wild game where initially ByuN did game-ending damage, and then Firefly popped off. He was forced all in. His economy was crippled, and he was killing tanks. He was getting SCVs. He was kiting his heart out. He did very well for himself. Firefly, he almost brought himself back into that game, but we saw towards the end there, we did misstep. We did have a big, we did have some miscontrol there, and Firefly threw away all of his Stalkers. This was before the final moments of the game, when he blinked forward, when he lost like 5 Stalkers. Unable to kill a tank, and from that moment, ByuN, he pulled it back into his favor, regained control of that game, and with that, we have an ace match. We're going all the way to game number 3. Whew. Let's go. We are headed for that ace match, and again, when it came to that last game, I'm still quite impressed by what Firefly was able to pull off. Just really good control here from our Protoss player. But now we're getting into our next game, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have Firefly for Offside Esports. And in the top left, we have ByuN for Shopify. Here we go. We're going all the way to the ace match here, and how will this story end? Again, been a very impressive run by Firefly so far, bringing down Big Gabe, forcing ByuN to the ace match. Can he bring ByuN down? I mean, we know that he has it in him. We know that Firefly can beat ByuN, but will he? You know, can he make that happen here and now when it matters most in the quarterfinals? The pressure is on. Once again, ByuN opening up double gas. As we mentioned, a double gas opener it leads into a faster factory. It can lead into reactored Reaper Hellion production, which is what happened in the last game. It can lead into a Widowmine drop, which is what happened in the game before that, in game 1. It can lead into even a 1 base all-in, which is not unheard of on Oceanborn. Keep an eye on ByuN. See how he does open up. I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes, yeah, reactor once again. This looks like reactored Reaper into Hellions. The reactor is spotted by the probe. Nice scout by Firefly. Does confirm. That's confirmed. But yeah, for those that are curious, again, like Firefly, he did retire. I remember being shocked when we heard about his retirement, just because he had so much potential as a player at the time, even back then. And then they made their comeback. It was Firefly alongside Cyan, alongside Toonming and Silky, with the Starving Camels. Oh, it's gonna be Reactored Marine. My apologies, not Reactored Mine. Reactored Marine here to shut down the probe. From here, we can go for an add-on swap. CC on the high ground, and meanwhile, Firefly opening up Stargate. We've seen a lot of Twilight Council-based play here these past couple of games. Sorry, these past couple of days of StarCraft. Especially from Creator, but now we're mixing it up here with the Stargate. Meanwhile, there's that add-on swap that we spoke about. It's going to be Reactor Cyclone production from ByuN. Interesting. We don't really see this build too often. This was very prevalent in the last patch, back when the Cyclone, or pre-nerf, when the Cyclone was more prevalent in the meta. Nowadays, Cyclone-based openers can be quite defensive. They can keep you safe, but we'll see how many Cyclones we make. 2 for now. 2 for now, and ooh, we have a 3rd and 4th Cyclone on the way. Interesting. ByuN, you have our attention. So doubling down on Cyclone production, he is moving out. He has map control. CC is soon to be taken on the low ground. Will soon be expanding. And do we go up to 6 Cyclones? And do we go for a medevac behind this for a drop? Cyclones have arrived. You can see the Firefly has fully walled up. There we have the Oracle as well. With the help of the shield battery, we should be able to hold on. As the Pulsar Beam is baited out. Good moves here by ByuN, wasting energy here and getting hull damage on the Oracle. Yeah, we go for the lock-on. 1 Cyclone goes down. We trade a Cyclone for an Oracle. Good trade here by ByuN. As additional Cyclones have arrived, we bait the army in. Ooh, and we take down the Adepts. Firefly overextending. He was not expecting the additional Cyclones. And bearing in mind, we're making more Cyclones behind this. We're still making 2 at a time. We have Banshee behind this as well, going for Cloak. Shield battery goes down. That's an Artosis Pylon. And we're going for the Pylon. Phoenix is coming in. And we do lift up one of the Cyclones, but we can focus the Phoenix down. Oof, big pick off. The first Phoenix falls. We get the Adept as well. Firefly bleeding out too much. Trading for another Stalker, and this may seem good, but the fact that ByuN is rallying across the map, he's still getting more damage done. Yeah, boys, they have to be pulled. We're going for the Stalker. Going for a bit of everything here. Oh, the Cyclone lives! SCVs arrive. They come in for the repair as well. Do we go for the Pylon or do we go for the army? We're going for the Stalkers. The Immortal is on the way. And it's barely coming out. We need a couple more seconds. It's coming. With the arrival of the Immortal, we hold. We've held, Pappy. Oh. Very tense moment. Firefly does hold. Additional Immortals on the way. Additional gateways as well. ByuN has to back off. Behind this, ByuN going for a 3rd CC. And remember, Cloak is done. Cloak is done. Do we have an Observer? We did spot the Banshee. We have the Phoenix. Then we force the Cloak. And do we have detection? As the Banshee makes his way across the map, does come across those sentries as they do retreat. Observers in production. Is being chroned as we speak. And we can see Firefly throwing down a proxy gateway across the map. He wants to go for a big counter push. Ooh. Yeah, we deny any kind of mining here in the main base. We get 3. We get 4 probes. Do we get 5? Good force field. We catch a Cyclone. There's a tank in position. There's tank. There's a bunker. We can pull the boys. 2nd bunker's on the way as well. ByuN, he's aware. He's with his opponent. The only chance a Firefly has is the all-in. And ByuN is not cutting corners. He's walling up. Good force field. We do focus out one of those bunkers. We have another tank on the high ground. Big volleys going off. Good target firing. An Immortal goes down. We have 1 Immortal left. It's not going to be enough. It's not enough. GG gets called as Firefly runs out of steam, and ByuN will take the series 2-1. GG, well played. Congratulations here, ByuN will take it. My condolences to Firefly. Firefly, he had an amazing run making it this far, and even in game number 2, honestly, Firefly could have taken that if he, in game 2, if Firefly had high ground vision, if he had taken out that final tank, then maybe we would have seen a different game. Here in the ace match, ByuN was in control. He was much more in control here. Well, I should say just hyper aggressive, just snowballing out of control, breaking Firefly, forcing the all-in. And now we have our semifinals. Here we go. We have our top 4. It's going to be Nightmare versus ByuN coming up next in the upper semifinals, and we have Solar versus Hero in the lower semifinals. We have our top 4.